As a Real Madrid fan, I absolutely hate Barcelona. But I know deep down, some part of me knows that we need them to an extent. Without Barcelona, Madrid may not be as great as they are, and vice versa. So I actually understand that. So this video is going to talk about that, why Madrid and Barcelona need each other. This is from Tifo Football. Go subscribe to them. Watch the video if you have not watched already. And let's get right into it.
Over recent decades, Florentino Perez and Joan Laporta have often been on opposite sides as Real Madrid and Barcelona have battled for domination of La Liga. And often for the Champions League trophy too. But events have driven them and their clubs together, and these two historic rivals have become intertwined in a new story which has huge consequences for the future of Spanish and European football. But why has this happened? The most high-profile commitment now binding Barcelona and Real Madrid together is their shared and continuing obstinance over the European Super League. Madrid backing the whole project is no surprise, as Perez has been pushing the idea for decades, arguing that it was the only way his member-owned institution can compete fairly with clubs elsewhere in Europe, whose funding comes from outside football and even from the wealth of nation-states. Manchester City beat Real Madrid and Barcelona to top Deloitte's Money League for the first time last year with a revenue.
I mean, looking at this statistic right here, this metric, this is ridiculous. This is part of there's some part of me that wants to support the Super League. I have my own opinions about the Super League that may not be popular with Madrid fans around the world or Barcelona fans around the world, because I just feel like there's some kind of hypocrisy. There's some hypocrisy going on here. But Man City leading Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Manchester United. I mean, like, in revenue, like, who the hell believes this? Like, even Manchester City fans don't believe this shit. They do not believe it. So, like, this is ridiculous. Like, I just cannot understand it, to be honest. I just can't understand it. Part of me wants to support the Super League because it seems like the other leagues are not doing enough to control this whole influx of money from these states. They're not doing enough. They're not doing enough to do that. Like, how can you allow this? The fact that they even have the balls to put up this kind of revenue. Like, there's even between doing a crime, hiding and doing it. This one, they actually came out and put it out there. Like, that they actually had more revenue than these four clubs. No shame at all. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is part of the reason why, like, okay, I guess where the Madrid fans and Barcelona fans are coming from. But some part of me also says, look, this is hypocrisy. Like, the time that Madrid and Barcelona were doing all this, or Juventus themselves, and nobody batted an eye. So let's not go down the hypocrisy path.
650 million euros in 2021, up 17% from 2020. In the same period, Madrid's revenue fell by 7% and Barcelona's dropped by 18%.
It doesn't really matter.
Transfer expenditure of 219 million euros was significantly more than Madrid's 45 and Barcelona's 91. Barcelona were not so openly committed to breaking away, although recent presidents including Laporta, Sandro Rosell and Josep Bartomeu have rarely missed a chance to criticise UEFA's running of the European club competitions. There was still general surprise in October 2020 when Bartomeu, just as he was resigning in disgrace after a series of on- and off-pitch disasters, announced Barca's willingness to participate in a future Super League, although some insiders claim not to be shocked at all. During the elections to succeed Bartomeu, all candidates knew what would play best with the voting socios, as Barcelona's club members are known. The Super League is just about money. It could destroy the essence of football.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Said
I didn't know he said that.
2021,
okay.
Before being elected. But then, just a few weeks later, the Catalan club were one of the 12 founding members of the new Super League project, which would have Madrid's Perez as its president and guiding light. Ultimately, the project quickly unravelled amid angry protests in England. But there was little such outcry in Catalonia. Barcelona's huge debts of more than 1.3 billion euros.
I have to say, there is no reason, absolutely no reason why any English club should join the Super League. Like, you are the Super League now. You are the Super League. You have no reason to join the Super League. Like, I'm just saying this objectively. Like, if you actually join the Super League, you are dumb as fuck. Seriously. The Premier League keeps growing and they keep growing. Every season, the revenue increases almost like about $1 billion every season. Like, it's ridiculous. It basically blood money at this point in the Premier League. Like, why would you join the Super League? It makes no sense. It absolutely makes no sense. So if if any of these Premier League clubs join the Super League, then you are dumb as fuck. Really, you are really, really dumb as fuck. So I get where Barcelona, Madrid, and Juventus and all the other clubs are coming from. But if you are a Premier League club out here and you join the Super League, you are a fool. The owners and, okay, not the fans, the owners themselves or the board, and you decide to join the Super League, they're foolish.
Meant they could not afford to look a gift horse in the mouth. So, even as everyone else except Juventus of Italy drifted back from the Super League idea, Barcelona and Laporta became firm backers. And last summer, it was clear how the two clubs' shared support for a Super League had detached them from their peers. The political situation meant no other European clubs would even play them in a friendly last summer. Instead, they organised a US Clasico in Las Vegas. Barcelona even had trouble finding suitable opponents for their traditional pre-season Trofeo Gamper curtain raiser at Camp Nou. But still, Laporta has not wavered. Indeed, over time, he has become much more publicly supportive of the Super League project. He even went further in an interview with Spain's Cadena SER radio station in January, saying the Super League would be a reality in 2025,
wow, he's so sure of
despite a December legal opinion from the European Court of Justice stating the rules of UEFA and FIFA, the World Games governing body, are compatible with EU law. But the Super League is not the only area in which Barca and Madrid have allied together in recent years. They've also grown increasingly close in domestic political battles against Javier Tebas, the La Liga president. The Clasico duo have often opposed his policies, which they feel do not reward them sufficiently for generating about half the total business of all.
Reward them sufficiently. Like, this is the problem with Madrid and Barcelona. This is the problem with Spanish League. They keep complaining about how the Premier League is so. Like, I get it in terms of the oil money coming into the Premier League, but you have to also remember that the bottom teams, the last team in the Premier League earns 100 million every season. The last team, that is what, like, if you go from relegation to the Premier League, you automatically are eligible for 100 million pounds. That is crazy. And the fact that is the bottom team, that means if you finish bottom, you are sure of that. I'm not sure even the top 6 teams, like the 6th team or the 7th team or the 8th team in La Liga even ends up to that amount. I don't think so. I doubt that. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I doubt that. And I get it. Most fans around the world watch Spanish League because of Madrid and Barcelona. I understand that. So you feel like you deserve this money. Two of you taking half of the whole cake. But at the end of the day, if you want your league to be better, you cannot be allowing Sevilla and Villarreal to be losing players to bottom 3 teams in the Premier League. You cannot allow that. If you allow that, then your league is not going to go anywhere. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not.
Spanish football. Almost a decade of PR and legal battles culminated in December 2021, with Barcelona and Real Madrid refusing to enter into the 2.7 billion La Liga Boost partnership deal agreed with European private equity firm CVC Partners. Barcelona instead did a similar standalone deal last summer, although with different financial details, with US financiers Sixth Street.
I have to say, Javier Tebas is a very terrible president. That deal, the CVC deal, was horrible. And Barcelona and Madrid were right not to get into that nonsense. That was a very, very horrible deal. Even for me, as an amateur person that's never been in any board, looking at that deal was ridiculous. So I support them for that, not joining that nonsense deal. Tebas should be, like, the fact that Tebas is still a president in La Liga is actually ridiculous to me. I don't understand why. Is it not by voting? I don't understand. Okay, maybe it's some corrupt people that vote for this stuff. But I thought president of the league is the president of all the teams in the La Liga that vote for this guy, right? I mean, this guy is not running the league properly. This guy had Messi and Ronaldo at their peak, the two most popular footballers of all time. Could not capitalize on it. He could not. So, like, this guy is terrible. He's really, really terrible.
Which brought in €517 million to fill holes in the club's finances. The arrangement was organised by Key Capital Partners, the financial backer of the Super League project, which 2 months earlier had agreed a €360 million financing deal with 6th Street to fund the renovation of Madrid's Bernabeu. Florentino Perez comes to the rescue of Barcelona to save the Super League, smirked a Madrid business president. Through the autumn, the Clásico duo were again allied together against most other clubs in La Liga in a battle to influence the Spanish government's new general sports law. Perez was able to use his considerable political contacts to get the law's wording amended to favour the interests of Real Madrid and Barcelona over everyone else, which led to a concerted lobbying campaign by Tebas and many other Spanish clubs to protect more equality within the legislation. The new law ended up as a fudge, which left neither side fully happy. And the isolation of the two clubs within Spanish football was shown again in December, when they both boycotted a La Liga organised trip designed to build business links in the Middle East. Some Barcelona figures had initially planned to go, Tebas told reporters while at the World Cup in Qatar. But then I guess a call came from you-know-who, Florentino, and they fell into line, he said, relishing the opportunity to point out the uncomfortable. Neither club now have any representation on the important La Liga subcommittees made up of directors and executives from other teams. Instead, they often send a proxy to argue their case as decisions are being taken. And of course, such isolation has consequences. In November, La Liga's other 18 clubs agreed to tweak the league's salary rules. Changes which Barcelona feel were directed at them specifically and hampers their ongoing fight to fix their finances. The idea of Real Madrid and Barcelona as bitter enemies has always been something for the media and the fans more than the directors of the clubs themselves. Perez and Laporta had cordial relations during the latter's first term. Legend also has it that when Perez spilt something on his tie during a pre-game dinner near the Camp Nou, his Barcelona counterparts arranged for a tailor to arrive quickly with a selection of replacements. Once,
I'm really surprised by this. Most rich people, even when they talk about this racism stuff, like rich people, black or white, they are still friends. So, like, at the end of the day, the top 1% live a different life from the remaining 99% of people. So you can come out and complain on the internet about these issues or these issues or these issues. The people that are championing these issues, that you are the people that are leading these issues that you are championing behind the scenes, that are having a dinner with your supposed opponents, your supposed enemy. So at the end of the day, all these things is just not. I think most people should know this, at least if you have some sense.
Rosell was being insulted by Madrid fans near the Bernabeu's VIP zone. Perez arranged for the season ticket holders involved to be moved permanently to another part of the stadium.
I imagine that.
But there is still something new and different about just how close the two clubs have become. They've always shared many strengths and insecurities, but now the fates of the Catalan outsiders and the Madrid conservatives have become completely entwined. What this means for the future of both, and for Spanish and European football, remains to be seen.
Bottom line, I think there's a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to this thing. Like, Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus are responsible for a lot of overspending in the last 30 years. And when they did that, there was a time that the Premier League clubs, like, couldn't even compete financially. And I get that there's a lot of doping going on with these Middle East countries coming in and buying all the Premier League clubs. But at the end of the day, there is hypocrisy here. Serious hypocrisy. Florentino Perez broke transfer records 2 times in a decade. 2 times in a decade. The first Galacticos was a failure, though they won 1 Champions League and 1 league, but it was a failure ultimately. They went 3 seasons trophyless, the longest trophyless period in Madrid history, in over half a century. Despite the fact that they signed all these players, they signed Zidane, they signed Figo, they signed De Lima, they signed Beckham, all these players broke records all over the place. He came back again in 2009, broke records again. First with Kaka, he broke that record. Also with Cristiano Ronaldo, he broke that record. Though obviously this second Galactico experiment actually worked out a bit. Or worked out very, very well. Actually, it worked out a bit because one of the main Galacticos flopped, which was Kaka. So I will say a bit. You have Barcelona out here that spent big money, absolutely insane money on Ousmane Dembele, Coutinho, two guys that have not lived up to expectations. And you have Juventus that broke transfer record for a goalkeeper in Gianluigi Buffon in around 2001, 2002. Around that time. And obviously Buffon was what it, but they still broke a transfer record for a goalkeeper. So these three clubs, there was a time that they were out here breaking transfer records, being on top in the transfer market, but all of a sudden, because they're not the guys, the top dog in the transfer market anymore, they're not complaining. Maybe there should be a way in which you could try and, I know UEFA and FIFA that are terrible and corrupt and all that, I get that, because they're supposed to be the ones to control all this nonsense. They should be able to control these oil clubs coming in and overspending. They should be able to control that, but they're not doing that. So I get where there's a part of me that wants to support the Super League because of that, because it seems even UEFA are not even good. Like, they're not even better. Probably they're even worse. God, they're supposed to be the one to stop the likes of PSG, Manchester City from breaking any rules in terms of financial fair play. But Madrid, Barcelona, and Juventus are hypocrites. Because there was a time that they were the top dogs in the transfer market and they did not complain about that. All of a sudden now, football is going to collapse. I mean, cut the crap. Just say the truth. You are jealous of these Premier League teams. And it's fine. It's fine. Don't come out here and claim like you're trying to save football. That's not what you're trying to do. You are jealous of the Premier League clubs that they find that they are the real Super League right now. And you're trying to combat it. And that is fine. If you want to combat it, I understand that. Maybe, and it's for the good of your clubs. Fine. I'm a Madrid fan and I understand why Madrid fans are backing this. I get it. But cut that crap. You're not trying to save football. See you next time.